Make sure to watch the video at the very end for a very special announcement. It's going to be good for me, for the channel, and for everybody. You know something? Sony's PlayStation 2 really was one of the best consoles back in the day. Look at the competition that they had back then. Yeah, we had the GameCube, but then what else was there? Xbox, that bitch-ass piece of shit? Who did they have as their mascots? Jake the dog on steroids?
Hey, get out of here, horse. I want to go to sleep and you're creeping me the math out.
A master chef? More like, have you seen Chef? Oh, good. Sony is amazing when it comes to making games. I mean, I'm sure whatever happens in the future, Sony would never fuck up in a major capacity that would make them look like the biggest assholes in the entire world, right?
What the fuck?
Okay, Sony's a bunch of fucking idiots now. But when I was growing up, we had so many great games, like really great games that came out. But the first game series that I had a giant, huge crush on was obviously the Jak and Daxter series. Already stated in my previous video that I had a huge boner when it comes to Jak and Daxter. But how exactly do the other games hold up? In my honest opinion, pretty goddamn well. We start things off with Jak II as our favorite duo and their friends just start fucking with shit.
Daxter, don't touch anything.
Somehow it takes them back to the future.
Great Scott.
Jak and Daxter then get separated from Kira and Samos as they soon get jumped by a few of the Baron's guards. After that, it takes a few years later for Daxter to come over and save Jak. And it seems that's too late as he is no longer a mutant and now has mild anger issues. So Jak is basically Bakugo, but with actual likable personality aside from being a total dickhead. No, seriously, Bakugo, you're the fucking worst. You'd think that it would be the same thing as the last game. Go collect some precursor orbs, go collect those eggs for certain shit to give to other people, get power cells to do that. No! No, fuck you! Fuck you, we're not doing any of that gay shit here. This is edgy Jak. Bitch. Though the precursor orbs do make an appearance, the power cells are absolutely 100% gone. No more of that dumb, monotonous bullshit where you had to get 100 of these motherfuckers and then get only 99% in the fucking game just because of the fact that you did go and get the fucking precursor orbs. No, they're useless in this game, alright? 99%. Oh god, when will the suffering end? Though the power cells and all that shit is all gone and dead, the one thing that Jak still does have is his core gameplay. He still has his double jump, his spinny kicks, and all the other good stuff. Plus he has a few new tricks up his sleeve. And by new tricks, I legit mean a gun. A legit gun. Jak II. Jak gets a fucking gun! Jak has 4 guns up his inventory that he can use to help him in combat. The first one is a standardized shotgun, attacking people from close range and getting the job done there and there. The second one is a sniper rifle that doesn't act like a sniper rifle at all, where you just go and shoot fucking a gajillion shots at once, and you can also do the spinny thing. The third weapon is basically the overkill Gatling gun that shoots 20 shots per second, and I mean holy fucking shit, look at this. And the purple one is basically a small spirit bomb. I know my animes. Now you're probably wondering, why does Jak have these weapons now? It's because of the fact that we no longer have control of the eco. We can no longer get the little Dragon Ball Z yellow eco where you can blast and go pa-choo, pa-chow. That's gone. That's gone. We can't blast things with our hands anymore. You gotta use a gun. Man. But the little weapons that you get are only part of what Jak can use with his new moveset. He basically now has a super limit breaker called Dark Jak. You see, what happened earlier was Dark Jak had been implemented as the Baron was basically fucking around with Jak, seeing what ticks and what would make his eco manifest even more.
The money is always right.
That basically got rid of all of the channeling of his eco and only released Dark Eco inside of him, so now he can transform into Dark Jak. He has many abilities: the Dark Bomb, Dark Blast, Invincibility, and growing big. yeah, you know what? Okay, yeah, okay, I see that. I mean, I'm just some asshole who just reviews cartoons and video games and anime for not even a living. I make $2 from this fucking bullshit. Why am I here? Why do I do this? Though I do like the idea of Dark Jak and what he does for the gameplay. It makes it very important to get every single Dark Cell or little orb ball or whatever the fuck they're called, and make sure that you do turn into Dark Jak, because Dark Jak is fucking amazing to play as, you know, most of the time. Now, actually, the way you gain these abilities is if you kill these things called the Metalheads. The Metalheads are basically the main enemy in the game. You thought it was the Baron and his goons, but you have to fight two enemies: Baron's goons and the Metalheads. So Baron does play an important part since he is working with the Metalheads and all of that. And the way you do it is you go there and you kill them and you take their skulls and feed it to the cursor gods. Isn't that just super fucked? Like, think about it like this. What if you had to go and you had to get these superpowers and you had to kill something like a deer and you had to rip off their fucking brain matter and then give it to some god so he can give you some superpowers? Think about that for just a second.
Mega! Right back! Messages!
We now return to Mega Man.
Now, another thing that I find kinda interesting that they changed from the other games was the overworld. You would have to normally ride some contraption to go from level to level to do the shit, but instead what they did was actually a lot better in my personal opinion. Instead, they have these little levels where you get to go in a fucking, like, cave of some kind, and you would go into that cave or bridge or whatever, and then you would have your stupid adventures in there. Now, I find that a little bit less appealing than going to world, but it's also a lot less annoying than going from world to world with that little bike bullshit. Especially when you're trying to get those fucking blue boxes and make sure you get that fucking power cell and not get 99%. Since we're on the topic of vehicles, let's actually talk about the ones that we have in Jak II. There's these types of vehicles, the ones with the two cars and this thing that's kind of lame, that thing that's kind of lame, the small one, the only one that's ever actually acceptable to use, and then there's the ones that the guards ride. I cannot express how much I fucking hate using those. I know you don't ever have to, like, need to use them, but whenever you're running away from the cops and everything, you're like, you know, I want to have an advantage. I want to use a gun on my car instead of wasting bullets and shit. Turning with those things is absolutely abysmal. You cannot, for the life of you, figure out what the fuck you're doing. It's so sloppy and so messy and grainy that when you're trying to go left, normally you do a complete and utter 360. It's so fucking annoying. Literally the worst car controls I've ever had to experience when playing a video game in my life, bar none. But not only that, they're just so slow. Your disease-ridden grandfather that has Alzheimer's, cancer, and every single fucking disease in the book that has to walk with a little cane goes faster than these goddamn cars. It's so ridiculous.
Shut up, you dick!
But the one vehicle that we all love is the motherfucking hoverboard. Now, a lot of people like to bitch and moan about the whole aesthetic when it comes to the new Grand Theft Auto look that it was going for. Obviously, they're trying to take inspiration from Grand Theft Auto so they can make Jak hip and cool and fresh and all the other stupid bullshit that marketing teams think that we like. I'm looking at you, Dippy Fresh! But the one thing that is different about this is the story and the fact that we have more than just 4 fucking characters to follow. Also, just on a side note, Tess, best girl. Best girl. I personally have to say that the game's strongest suit is the fact that it kind of gives the main characters a guilty conscience for leaving the past to play these shitty games. It's like, no, we are not doing that. I would rather have a buffalo take a diary dump. Fuck! It adds to the game's story, and it adds to more why we should give a shit about these characters and why we need to stop the Baron and the Metalheads. It's important that we get back home. It's important that we prevent this future from coming. Then we just go and stay here because it just turns out that Jak is actually from the future. And then they had to go back to the past to go into the future so they can go back to the past and going to the future to go back to the future when originally he's supposed to be in the past, and then he had to go. You have to go back to the past. So Jak can go back to the past, future, past, future, past, future, past, future. Okay, long story short, this fucking story is complicated, and I, for the life of me, cannot understand what the fuck is going on or why. Even though the game wants to be its own thing, it also has very kind elements to the previous game at hand. They have the little stupid dance thing when you do the first level, and the platforming, just like the first game, is once again absolutely fantastic. I have to give props to Naughty Dog because they have not lost a step when it comes to platforming. Another thing that they fixed with Jak II is what they would have done with Jak and Daxter is, well, you know how the game's called Jak and Daxter? And Daxter? And Daxter? What was the one thing you would have expected? Daxter do things, maybe? Did we get that in Jak and Daxter? No? We got that in Jak II! In Jak II, Daxter actually fucking does something. Yeah, it's running away, it's doing a little minigame, it's doing the races, but he's doing more in Jak II than he actually did in Jak and Daxter. You know, Jak and Daxter. And Daxter. So, all in all, how exactly is the game? Well, if I were to compare it to the other games, it's no contest that Jak II is superior to Jak and Daxter. Better graphics, way better lighting, and sound effect usage, and you get a little more variety with this game, and you have a little bit more going on with the lore, and all the other interesting things with the story. But when I was a little kid, it took me a little bit to get with the GTA aspect, but now that I'm a fully grown man, I honestly can't say that we could have done this with another Jak and Daxter, with Jak being absolutely boring. The happiest moments of my life would probably have to be when I was going to my cousin's house to play Jak and Daxter. I just loved him because of the fact that he introduced me to gaming, essentially, and I also just love the fact that I had to do something so great. So Ryan, if you're watching this, thank you so much for segueing the Jak and Daxter series into my life one way or another. And with this series, I can say there's absolutely nowhere else to go but up.
Right, Samos? Right, Samos?
But hey, Jak II is still made, it's still being available out there, and you can go and buy it anytime you want, so go and do that shit. And if by any chance you have some spare money, maybe you can go and get yourself some Fatal Grips. Fatal Grips is a website where you can get the #1 best choices in all things gaming accessories. They're the #1 place to get the best controller grips for any type of controller that you have that's either last gen or next gen. Just make sure to use the code MrCake for any accessory that you want to get 10% off. Make sure to use that right after you do the whole checkout process. This is the first of hopefully many advertisements that I'll be doing for Fatal Grips in the future. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Please make sure to donate to the Patreon and subscribe to the channel, and then bada bing bada boom. Okay, bye.
And as far as we go, and as far as we go, and how little we know.